Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me for Resident Evil 5 review for PS4 and Xbox One. Now this game originally released back in 2009, and not much has changed for the game since then. They've put it up to 1080p resolution and 60 frames per second, and the game has remained largely unchanged. However, with the $20 purchase of Resident Evil 5, not only do you get the base game, you get all the DLC costumes, and also the 2 DLC add-on story modes. Resident Evil 5 is 2 of 3 games that are coming out this year that are remastered by Capcom. Resident Evil 6 released in early March, Resident Evil 5 released in June, and hopefully in September or October we will be getting Resident Evil 4. Now, Resident Evil 5 and 4 are very different in terms of gameplay style and control. Resident Evil 6 had it so that even though when you were aiming down your sights with the gun, you could still strafe left or right, and I panned it pretty hard for not having good controls and just being a third-person shooter in general. It didn't handle or feel good whatsoever. Resident Evil 5, I feel, still holds up because it uses what are known as tank controls, where once you pull that left trigger to bring up your gun, your feet are firmly planted, you cannot strafe left or right, you cannot move up or down or back and forth. You have to make a stand and choose your battles while doing this, and this is what I feel adds to the tension of Resident Evil 5. You'll see that each shot that I place while fighting this monster here with the chainsaw has to be precise, and if it's not, he's going to chop my head off. Now, in terms of presentation, this game is still one of the best looking games I think I've seen to date. It looked amazing back in 2009 on PS3 and Xbox 360, and with its added frame rate and updated visual resolution, the game still looks amazing. It almost looks like it was just built from the ground up for this generation, which puts even games in its own franchise to shame. As always, the sound design is absolutely amazing. The weapon reload sounds, the gunshot firing, the explosions from the grenades. Voice acting is top-notch. The actors really portray the characters, I feel, very well, and not once for a second do you feel like you are back in Resident Evil 1 with, you know, a Jill sandwich. Having covered the gameplay, story, and sound design, I feel that it's time to talk about the negatives with this game. And this game has a huge, shining, smack you in the face negative. And if you've noticed by now, and if you've never played this game before, you'll see that you have a partner running around. Now, I highly recommend that if you have a friend to get on and play this game with, have them play it with you. This game was designed to have a 2-player co-op experience. And when you're playing with another player, that experience is awesome. But when you are playing by yourself, which I know a lot of people do, the AI that controls your partner couldn't be any worse. It is like taking a kindergartner who doesn't know how to write and just started speaking out on a mission, and you are constantly babysitting. She will use up health packs when you don't need them. She will pick up ammo that you are trying to pick up, and which can become extremely, extremely annoying when you're in a rush and you're running from an enemy and you need the ammo right away. The combat AI that is programmed for this character is awful as well. She will stand in a group of enemies, not firing her weapon, die, and of course when your partner dies you have to restart from the checkpoint. And many times for many people this will be a game breaker or a deal breaker. It can completely ruin your experience when playing this game by yourself. And honestly, that's awful for me to say. I absolutely love Resident Evil 5. It holds a nice nostalgia place in my heart, but looking at this objectively, this game desperately needs to find a way to ditch this character. I would have loved to have seen them add at least a new mode where that character isn't included. Or if you can play as that character in certain spots, switch back and forth between Chris. But unfortunately, the AI and the character interactions when playing by yourself are nothing but a detriment to the gameplay experience that you can have that could be amazing if it was programmed properly or not there. Ultimately, though, these problems with the AI can be overcome. The game is not bad, it's not great, it is very average, middle of the road, and is very technically and functionally competent, earning it a 3 out of 5.